The position at the Overlook Hotel seemed like salvation, a chance for Jack to rebuild his life after the drinking, after the accidents, after the slow dissolution of his career. 5 months of peace to focus on his novel while his family enjoyed the grand, empty spaces of the historic mountain retreat. Just routine maintenance, the manager had assured him. Keep the boiler running, check for leaks when it snows. Simple work for a man like yourself. Wendy had been hopeful. Danny, their son, had been silent. October passed in a haze of productivity. Jack rode every morning, maintained the grounds each afternoon, and spent evenings with his family. The rhythm of their isolation felt therapeutic, necessary. Then November arrived with the first heavy snowfall, cutting them off from the world below. The hotel's corridors seemed to elongate overnight. Rooms that had been empty began collecting sounds, a whispered conversation here, laughter there, music from another era drifting through the ballroom. Jack found his daily routine disrupted by inexplicable detours. He'd start toward the boiler room only to find himself standing before room 237 with no memory of climbing the stairs. His manuscript pages grew stranger, darker. Wendy found him at his typewriter at 3 a.m, eyes vacant, fingers hammering the keys with mechanical precision. "Just need to finish this chapter," he'd say, voice flat. "The hotel likes it when I write." Sleep brought dreams of elegantly dressed crowds, champagne flutes, and a bartender who knew his name, who poured him drinks that tasted like forgiveness. He'd wake with a parched throat and the phantom burn of alcohol. The writing stopped. The maintenance dwindled. Jack spent hours staring at the old photographs in the hallway, tracing faces that seemed increasingly familiar. Wendy watched her husband vanish by increments, the way his shoulders hunched, how his sentences trailed off mid-thought, the growing silence punctuated by sudden rages over trivial matters, a misplaced pen, a creaking floorboard, Danny's footsteps running down a hallway. "You've always been the caretaker, Mr. Torrance," he muttered to himself in the bathroom mirror, his reflection grinning back with teeth too sharp, too numerous. The hotel's influence wrapped around him like ivy, choking rationality and nurturing the dormant violence within. Jack began carrying the maintenance axe with him, testing its weight, running a thumb along the edge while watching his family from doorways. When the storm came, it was inside him as much as outside the walls. His eyes, once warm, became frozen lakes. His voice, once soft with his son's name, twisted into a grotesque parody of paternal concern. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, advancing slowly as Wendy backed away. "I'm just going to bash your brains in." He smiled then, not Jack's smile, but something ancient wearing Jack's face, something that had waited patiently through decades of winters for a caretaker whose cracks it could seep into and expand. The true horror wasn't the pursuit through endless corridors or the splintering wood as he hacked through doors. It was the complete erasure of the man who had arrived in autumn, a flawed but loving father, and his replacement with a monstrous puppet, eyes gleaming with malevolent purpose, the hotel's hunger made flesh.